Hey, Tony Williams, how do you handle inspections up front with the client?
Well, we've got to the place now where we do an inspection at the time of the listing. And,
Yeah.
we tell the seller, hey, let's get this house prepared to sell. And, we go out and give them ideas on what to do. The toughest part is now with as many senior adults that there are selling properties, there is so much clutter in these houses. I mean, it's like they're keeping things for everybody. And to declutter a house is so important. The way that we handle inspections, when the inspection comes through, let's say that, we have the buyer and there's a ton of stuff. First of all, we never ask for anything that's cosmetic. And I always tell my buyers, hey, look, when this inspection comes through, we're looking for things in here that you can't do yourself. Okay. We're going to ask the seller to get involved. Now, I will tell you this. I never ask the seller to do a repair, ever. What I do is I ask for some sort of compensation, additional closing costs, some buy down money, whatever it may be. That way it puts money into the buyer's pocket, okay, and they can do the repairs after closing. I found that if you ask a seller to do repairs, the buyer never likes what's done, okay? Never likes what's done. And
all the time.
Yeah, and then, but if you can put it back in the buyer's hands and say, hey, look, you can get your own vendor to do this after the closing. Now, let's say that the buyer, they want it all done before closing, okay? What we'll do is we will go and do an amendment and say, the seller is going to pay to the buyer's vendor of choice, and that money is going to be paid at closing. And then we'll go find a vendor that can fix whatever and say, look, you're going to get paid at closing. Is that okay with you? And a lot of them will say, yeah. I mean, they're looking for work. Yeah, that'll work for me. Mm-hmm. And then we'll put a line item in the closing statement where the seller has paid the buyer's vendor for doing the work that they did before closing. But if you can delay the work and give some sort of consideration back to the buyer before closing to do the work after the closing, everyone's going to get along because the buyer used their own people and they did the work the way they wanted to have the work done.
I totally agree with that. It's so much better to have a concession so that the buyer can do it after the fact. I totally agree with that. That's been the best way to get deals closed and everybody's happier, right? The only exception that you have to watch out for is FHA. And so if there's a repair that's required by FHA financing, you have to do that before closing. But like Tony said, you can have a vendor of the buyer's choice to do it and agree upon an escrowed amount that gets paid at closing. So for sure, doing the concessions is the best option.